Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Unity Consciousness. Thank you so much for stopping by today. My day is always better with you in it. There's no doubt about that. Today we're going to be discussing the energy that will be prominent this week, beginning the 23rd today of April and going through the week. This is the last week of April. But before we get started, I do want to welcome our new subscribers and thank those of you who are tuning back in today for this week's energy update. Like I mentioned, every day is good when I have you in it. So thank you so much for stopping by today. We are in between eclipse cycles. We had a powerful new moon lunar eclipse, solar eclipse that was last week, and it was very close to Jupiter, and I felt a lot of positive energy. There's no doubt about that. But we are immersed in eclipse season, and we have another eclipse that is going to be coming to us on the 5th of May, and this is a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, asking us to let go of things. Very powerful energy. And the purpose of this week's energy and next week's energy is to bring things to the forefront of our sphere, so we have an opportunity to really engage that eclipse energy so that we can make some major transformations over the course of the next 6 months. So this week, let's talk about this week specific. As I mentioned, we're in between eclipses within the eclipse season. That means that the veil has thinned. I've spoken to a couple of people recently who have experienced metaphysics in their life, either very profound dreams, or this particular individual had sense that were over and over and over the course of days that helped them to validate a past loved one that had come into their lives. So with this veil, with this time, it's a very special time in between eclipses where the veil is thinned, and that we can get very conscious messages from unconscious realms that help us make changes in our lives. And this week, like I mentioned, we are setting ourselves up for a very powerful letting go of energy that's going to come with the second of the eclipses, the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. And our responses are what we're looking at this week. We are looking to see if the manner in which we respond to things or react to things, does it fortify your experience or does it detract from who you want to be? Okay, so anyway, let's get started. As we spoke about last week, today, Sunday the 23rd, we have a retrograde Mercury, which is in the sign of Taurus, is sextile Mars in Cancer. So it's easy energy for sure. We spoke about that last week, but it's relative to the articulation of how something makes you feel and the effects of that on your stability. Again, we went into that more last week, but that's today's energy. Then tomorrow, which is Monday, the Sun in Taurus is going to conjunct the North Node. I love, love, love this energy. The North Node is in Taurus and is getting ready to change axis cycle. So North Node Taurus, South Node of Scorpio, which is why we're going to have our next eclipse in Scorpio, tidying up, finishing those loose ends, getting ready to get rid of things that no longer serve our purpose. Anyway, back to tomorrow's energy. That Sun, which is going to conjunct the North Node in Taurus, is all about self-check-ins as to where you are relative to what you feel your life's purpose is, and the stability that that brings. Again, everything's in Taurus here, right? Be sure to be patient with yourself. Taurian energy is very patient energy. It's very loyal energy. But be patient with yourself. But more importantly, pay attention to those nudges from guides or others in your sphere to help you with the direction in your life, to get you on the path that you need to be on, or maybe you are and you're going to get some validation. But like I said, that veil is thinned, so you never know whenever you've got a Sun conjunct the North Node, it's going to give us some indication as to whether we're on the right path or whether we're not. Just pay attention on this day. Then late Monday or early Tuesday, we have the sun again in Taurus is going to sextile Saturn in Pisces. Again, I love this energy. It's very mature energy. The sun in Taurus all talks about stability, right? Tried and true means and mechanisms. And Saturn in Pisces really talks about our vulnerability, right? Or healing qualities. And now with the application of these energies being sextile, which is very easy energy, you have to do something to get something. But nonetheless, once you do, you're able to easily understand and appreciate the benefit of your dedication to healing personal wounds. So if you've gone above and beyond, or even just addressed personal woundings, and you've applied some energy towards the resolution of that wounding, you're stepping away from victimhood. The very minute that you have that awareness, that moment of awareness of anything, let alone victimhood, you're stepping away from that victimhood and stepping into something much more solid, like self-healing and survivorship. Coming from a place of lack to a place of confidence and knowing. You really do understand the shelter that that wounding provided for you as you move towards stability. Then the moment of awareness occurred, and now you can really fully embody and understand and appreciate the benefit to the dedication and the time that you've put in to heal. Love this energy. Really do love this energy. Then late on Tuesday, which I believe is the 25th already, we've got Venus, which is in Gemini, is going to sextile Chiron in Aries. Did I talk about wounding? Did I talk about healing? Here comes some more. This energy is going to fortify healing through the articulation of communication or thoughts, because remember, Venus is in Gemini here, right? And that's all about communications and thoughts, but also loving, compassionate, generous, kind, articulation of communication or thoughts. You can really appreciate the courage that it takes to heal. So the day before, you can understand the maturity in your dedication. Well, now you really can appreciate how courageous you are as an individual when you choose yourself, especially when it comes to healing ancestral wounds or wounds that are going to take you to a higher level of consciousness. You now completely understand from a very healing and healed place that you can respond versus react to triggers. You can solidify who you are innately, who you were as a soul being born, not from a place of wounding, the things that have happened to us after the fact, or the things that happened as we were born, things that we were born into. It's important to appreciate that, to appreciate the courage that you have shown in overcoming some of these obstacles. And remember to always be loving towards yourself. It's very important to be the biggest supporter, the biggest cheerleader. That's what you want to be. Because the very next day on Thursday, which is the 27th, here comes our test, right? We embody those lessons, and then we get a test so that we can clearly make a choice based on what we've already spoken about. Thursday, here comes our test, like I said. We've got Mars, which is in Cancer, is now going to square Chiron in Aries. Yes. This is all about triggers. Trigger. Mars wants you to have a very emotional response to something. And Chiron in Aries is all about ancestral healing. We're going to see where our wounds no longer serve us, where we need to drop them. We are going to use, I shouldn't be so bold as to say, my recommendation would be to use those triggers for introspection. as to what your response will be. Instead of a knee-jerk, wounded response coming out of a defensive place, you can take a step back and root in who you are innately, how you were born as a soul, and proudly, peacefully, wholly respond to whatever happens to be triggering you. Expect impulsivity to want to come up. Expect frustration to want to come up. That's the point of this energy, is to put it in your face so that you can apply some introspection. That, again, would be my recommendation for good use of this energy, to apply that introspection and the evaluation to see what awareness brings. Because the minute you show up with awareness and you want to have a little introspection and you step away from that defensive conditioning knee-jerk response, the healing's already starting to take over. You will be shocked at what that little bit of awareness brings to you relative to healing, relative to response versus reactivity. Then on Saturday, which is the 29th already, oh my goodness, Mars in Cancer, we talked about that a lot this week, is going to sextile Uranus, which is in Taurus. Again, love this energy. It is very authentic and spontaneous energy. It's helping us to understand the evolutionary process, right, of triggered responses and stability. How we as an individual and the manner in which we respond to things helps to build our reality, right? It's a good day to step outside of your comfort zone if you so choose. If you would like to do that on this day, it's a good day for that. But be mindful of your actions secondary to your emotions, because remember, things can be kind of raw. We've got Mars in Cancer, we've had some squares with Chiron, also sextiles with Chiron to show us the dichotomy between those two, respond versus react. But nonetheless, just, be mindful of your actions and how you want to respond to things. Also, use this as an opportunity. See what the universe is defining for you as what you're compelled to take action on. How you want to take action and why you want to take action, because that in itself is going to help you understand where you need to make a transformation as well. Conscious, authentic responses or defensive responses, they're designed to deflect and hide yourself, not be your authentic self because of wounding. You're going to be able to see where you're being triggered and why and how to know where you need to transform. That energy, that understanding is going to be important as we move into May, because on May 1st, Pluto goes retrograde. Yep. We've already seen Mercury in retrograde. It's time for the retrograde seasons to begin again, and Pluto's a big one. We've talked about Pluto finishing its destruction in the sign of Capricorn and the transformation that it's going to bring. Well, now it's getting personal. This week it's getting personal. There's things coming into your sphere of knowing so that you can understand how you want to respond to it, what transformations you want to make, and then we're going to take that bag that we've pleasantly packed this month and take it into that very powerful full moon lunar eclipse on the 5th. We're going to have Pluto is going to be retrograde at that point. We've got a super powerful fixed grand cross, massive fixed grand cross. I believe it's right around the 20th to 21st of the month. And man, oh man, that if we will be using what we learned this week and applying it to that energy so we can extract the most out of it, making those transformations. So many of you have asked for transformation. Well, here it is. Now is our opportunity to get a better understanding of what we need to transform so that we can use that energy to our advantage over the coming days. That's all I have for you energy-wise. I did decide to use the Light Seers Tarot deck, Chris Ann deck. This is the deck I chose from today, and we did have a card jump right out. But before I show you that card, I want to show you what's on the bottom of the deck, because this I found very interesting as well. On the very bottom of the deck is the Chariot, and that card signifies two varying energies, as you can see. Chariot running amok. The person up here has to be responsible enough to manage this energy, and I think that's what we're being asked to do. And it's very interesting that that's at the bottom of the deck, because what jumped out at me was the Knight of Cups. Hold that up for you, and let's read what the book has to say. Knight of Cups. This classic romantic invites you to step into a world of roses, bubble baths, and champagne. It's fully devoted to you for today, and maybe for every day. This card heralds romance and embodies the graceful movement of slow dance. Enjoy this flirtation and be present to connect. This knight is intuitive and totally in touch with his emotions. As such, he knows what he wants. He has no problem wearing his heart on his sleeve. This card often signifies someone who is in love with the idea of love itself, and sometimes this becomes bundled with unrealistic expectations. Are you ready to be swept off your feet and allow deep honesty and vulnerability to flow freely in your life? Do you believe in this type of true love? Get ready to take inspiration and run with it, to make art, music, and love the very masterpiece of life. When I saw this card, not necessarily as somebody outside yourself, I saw this as an opportunity to really show yourself the love. Provide yourself with the love is necessary to embrace your courageous self, your courageous side, because we've come a long way in our healing journey, and this week is going to point that out for us. Well, I thank you so much for joining today. If you like this video, please do click the like button. If you know somebody that could be helped by this video, please do share it with them. If you want to know when videos are being dropped, please click the subscribe button. And if you have any comments, I love to hear them. Please post them in the comment section below. I hope you have a fabulous week. I'll be here with you every step of the way. And thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.